Teaching your child how to feed themselves will help promote their independence, increase their fine motor skills, and also provide them with food awareness. I'm going to go over 9 tips on how to encourage your child to feed himself or herself. My first tip is to provide your child with opportunities to feed themselves. And so that means either you stopping or significantly minimizing how much you are feeding your child. One thing to remember is that children are good at being able to monitor how much they actually need to eat. So giving them the opportunity to feed themselves will just help give them the autonomy and awareness of what their body needs. My second tip is for you, the caregiver, to stay occupied during the mealtime or snack time. So in order to do that, you could either eat at the same time as your child, or you could engage in some type of meal prep. My third tip is to minimize the distractions. So turn off the TV, take away the iPad, ensure there's no toys on the table or on their tray table during mealtime. That way your child will learn the script of mealtime, which includes them having to feed themselves. My fourth tip is to provide your child with consistent meal and snack times with adequate time between, like 2 to 3 hours. That way your child will be hungry when they sit down to eat, as this will minimize their grazing of food during the day. Also, having that consistent meal and snack time will make mealtime a routine activity for them, which will help them learn what they're supposed to do during mealtime, which is feeding themselves. My fifth tip is to consider presenting the food in a family-style manner versus plated. The reason for this is that it provides your child with the idea that they have more autonomy and control in what food ends up on their plate. My sixth tip is to minimize the amount of food on your child's plate. Some children get really overwhelmed when they look at the quantity of food that's presented in front of them. So let's say, for example, your child may eat 5 pieces of tortellini. It might be a great idea to initially present 2 pieces or 3 pieces, and then once your child consumes that, you can add more onto their plate in order to have them feel less overwhelmed. My 7th tip is to provide your child with sensory experiences with items that have a wet or sticky texture. So you can have your child do some finger painting or explore with some water beads, or maybe explore with some slime or gack. The idea behind this is that some children do not like the way that certain foods feel, and so they may not be willing to touch them in order to feed themselves. So providing your child with experiences where they can touch items that have a similar texture to foods without the pressure of having to eat it can help make them more willing and accepting of touching foods at mealtime in order to feed themselves. My 8th tip is to involve your child in some meal preparation activities. So perhaps after you've cut some vegetables, you can have them work on transferring those from the cutting board to a large bowl. Or you could have your child help you with mixing some ingredients in order to form dough for cookies or breads or pizza. And so that way your child gets involved in touching foods, but in a way where they don't have pressure to eat them. My last tip is to praise your child. So praise your child if they feed themselves, but also praise them if they say touch a new food, or maybe bring it up to their nose to smell it, or to their mouth to lick it, or put it against their lips or teeth. The idea is that when you praise them, it will help continue that behavior of them feeding themselves or embarking in the process of feeding themselves. Those are my 9 tips on how to get your child to feed themselves. Thanks for watching my video.